best crypto asset? Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Which one's the best crypto asset? Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Which one's the best? 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 What's the second best? There is no second best.
This is Discover Crypto, and we have a major show today. I'm your host, DZ. We have to talk about the fallout of the markets. Bitcoin is crashing, altcoins are crashing, and it's all based on Jerome Powell's speech yesterday. So we have the summary, we have the breakdown, and we got to talk about Trump meeting with Xi Jinping in South Korea. Trump-China trade war, is it coming to an end? And is quantitative tightening ending? And what does that mean for the markets? And we got to talk about some altcoin news. Wall Street Journal attacking Donald Trump with his connection to ZZ from Binance. And of course, we got to talk about Solana. Why did the ETF really not do anything to that market, TJ? And TJ, how are you doing today?
I'm doing as good as you can. Markets, absolute chaos out there right now. Smash the like button on your way in if you like that we're here every single day, and we'll give you our thoughts, rain or shine. Definitely a lot of blood on the streets right now. A lot of people feeling the pain and the kind of question of this show. Like DZ mentioned, we have a lot to cover news-wise. There's a lot of major economic things happening. But the real question everybody's debating is, has the bear market already started? You and I, DZ, talking this morning, you know, it does. We all have our metrics that we're looking at, our thesis and all that sort of stuff. But it does just anecdotally somewhat feel like, man, we can get good news. Like all this news should be bullish and we don't get any rally out of it. And then the slightest hint of negative news just drops the bottom out of altcoins, and even Bitcoin falling back below 108 into the 107 range this morning. You know,
yeah,
it feels
a sea of red when you're looking at the crypto markets right now. You're not seeing really anything in the green. Yeah, at best, you're seeing the stable coin look flat.
Yeah, it feels bad. I wish I could. This video I'm trying to play isn't loading, but I posted on Discover Crypto of the chick that was all beat up. So I'm having super fun. Thanks for being here, and that's probably how it feels to be an altcoin holder right now. I mean, it's just you're worn out, you're beat up. But I see the chat was going back and forth already before we even started. I want to know from your perspective. Are we in a bull market still? Do you still have, are you buying these dips saying this is an opportunity, or are you in the camp that, hey, it's over, prices are falling, 125 was the top, you know, you need to be getting out now. If you're still, you know, on a bullish hopium, you need to, you know, be real with yourself. I want to know, tell me in the chat, bearish or bullish overall right now, you know, say for the next, you know, at least few months, do you think we will recover from these rallies? I see Steve-O, yes. TJ buying, rough, bull market's brutal. This is typical post FOMC. I do have a little breakdown that we were talking about in Discord today. It is fairly typical. I would agree with that. It's not over. I'm betting on it. Bullish, bearish, bearish. I like that one. That's interesting.
Yeah, so basically, you know, this kind of sums it up. No idea. We have a lot of people one side, a lot of people on the other side. And me personally, I'm 50x long in Bitcoin. I'm buying meme coins, TJ. So, you know, I'm still leaning a little bit bullish. More seriously, though, I will say there's a lot of fundamentals out there when you look at projects like Aave or Chainlink on the DeFi side with the Clarity Act, you know, providing clarity that is much needed in the markets. And Bitcoin, at the end of the day, you know, we'll talk about what quantitative tightening ending, what that might mean for the largest apex asset in the crypto space. And let's not forget, gold's at $20 trillion. And we're going to talk about the gold lags effect on Bitcoin. Snap recipients waiting for the cards to reload. Crypto bros waiting for the money printer to reload. We're all waiting for someone. Coca-Cola, they're just like, at the end of the day, the degens, they're drinking the sodas. And we have the Snap benefits. They're buying the colas. They're just sitting back collecting fat checks while America gets fatter, I guess. But
yeah,
let's look at
the key word is fat right there.
That is right. And right now, the market's feeling a lot of pain. Look at that. ETH is down 5%, Bitcoin down 4%, XRP down 6%, Cardano down 5%. Some say, you never say when Cardano's down. Cardano down 5.3%. Let's look. I mean, you saw meme core is up, and then it's all stable coins. Not typically what you see. And TJ, even Leo couldn't print a green candle today, the coin that's always green when the markets are red. Looking at the larger drops, we see Aster totally losing a dollar support there. Is now trading around 90 cents. Pi's down, Caspa's down. Athena, it's one of the more surprising ones. Athena is down at 9% there. And ARB also looking kind of weak despite its presence in the RWA sector. And Swee's looking dead. Near's looking dead. Pepe, not a surprise that one is down 6.9%. So that's kind of what I'm seeing, TJ. Arrow base play is going to pump next 2 weeks. I would say there's a fair shot of that for sure.
It is actually. Drew and I were talking about that this morning as well. Revenue-based project. Arrow holding up fairly well through all this. It was up the other day. I haven't checked it. It's not necessarily gotten beaten up. Morpho holding up. Chainlink, Bitcoin, obviously down, but not down nearly as bad as, you know, some of these high-risk altcoins. And I would say to all of you out there, I know it's very enticing to buy micro caps or low cap memes and all that sort of stuff. I would hesitate to do that right now. If I were you, I would be still if you're going to accumulate altcoins, keep it to the majors until you get a confirmed uptrend, and then you can start getting lower. Like for me, my highest risk per se would be Aerodrome. Now I'm pretty heavy in Aerodrome, but we talk about virtuals, we talk about plenty of these other ones. I think they're solid and there are opportunities. I just generally wait for a confirmed uptrend before we get into that. I see this super chat here. DZ TJ, what are you doing 2026 Q1 bearish? You want to? I'll go ahead and start. So right now I'm still in accumulation mode. Obviously I mentioned I was going to be doing a large purchase this week. I bought about 6 figures. A lot of it's hung up in Coinbase right now. So not to put anybody on blast, but they're really doing a lot of checks on that stuff. So maybe they're helping me wait to get to a better entry. If I had it in today, I would definitely be looking to load up just under 108. I think that's a really good level. We are getting to some of those key like make or break type levels. If we lose, like we talked a few weeks ago, we were down at 105. If we lose some of those 300-day averages or 50-week moving averages, it can get a little scary for a bear market. But I'm still bullish into Q4 and likely into Q1. I'm going to have to kind of wait and see what happens in Q4. But a lot of things that I'm seeing say this government shutdown's delaying things. We're ending QT in December, which we're going to talk about Powell's comments yesterday here in just a moment. So I'm still leaning hesitantly bullish into 2026, believe it or not. What about?
All right. I'm actually thinking about buying some Chainlink right here, right now, TJ. So that's kind of where I'm at when it comes to the markets here. Chat, let me know if I shouldn't buy Chainlink. What should I buy instead? I still have a little bit, not 6 figures. We're talking, just I think I deployed 1,000. We only spent half of it. I still got $500 in some stable coins ready to just deploy right now, folks. So let me know if I'm not going to buy Chainlink, what the heck should I buy? I'll go ahead and I'll pull the trigger of this stream, everybody. So let me know, type in your alts. Now, one of the major fallouts that we see from yesterday's FOMC meeting, Federal Open Market Committee, you can see the odds for a rate cut in December. Huge pull down on this. You can see the 25 basis points had about an 85% chance and then bottomed out after Powell spoke at 65% chance. And you can see the rate of no change going from 13%, now settling around 28%. And because we're in a simulation, 69% odds for the 25 basis point decrease here. So a lot of people say, when the rates start cutting, risk on assets, they do great. Now it looks like less odds that we're going to see rate cuts in December. And now that's why we're seeing a lot of risk on assets feeling the pain, Bitcoin and the altcoins.
Yeah, I still have a feeling we're going to see a rate cut. He did go out of his way to say it what felt like 10 times. Like, it's not a foregone conclusion. It's not a foregone conclusion. It's not a foregone conclusion. Because that was basically the question somebody asked. Like, it seems like according to the, statistics out there, another cut is a foregone conclusion. Now, he was trying to show strength, I think. But it really didn't seem to work. It was, he kind of highlighted the fact that, we have a couple persistent problems, not just inflation. We've got the strategic reserve or the emergency fund basically is getting tapped a lot by banks, meaning like there is no liquidity. Banks don't have a lot of money. We have a live look actually at Powell trying to do some plumbing of the financial system. I'll pull it up here in just a second. And here it is. Jerome Powell, boom, putting just 25 basis point cuts. I fixed it. Oh, And
Oh,
that's the market's reaction today. Obviously, we've got the yields didn't like it going up on that stuff. A lot. There's just a true liquidity crisis, and that's really what's happening to the crypto markets. Bitcoin thrives when liquidity is being injected. I do believe we're going to see a lot more of that. I don't believe they can hold a strong position. I mean, he was trying to feign like, oh, if we don't have any data because the government's still shut down, like we're probably not going to cut blind, but they have to get the money cheaper, and they're also doing other things. They're also rearranging balance sheet, and he did. I would say the biggest thing that came out of it was the announcement of the end of quantitative tightening.
yeah.
December.
We'll get into all that, what that means. We do have a $5 super chat I want to get into here. VeChain, should I hold my VeChain or convert to a faster horse? It's not done anything for almost a year. Really, VeChain has one positive narrative, and that is Dana White and Dana White's proximity to Donald Trump. I don't know if Dana White's going to go out there wearing a VeChain shirt anytime soon. And he was out there. It's the only crypto I own. It's the only thing I own. I don't even own Bitcoin. I own VeChain. I think that was about the extent of his pumpamentals there, his positivity. So I would convert to a faster horse. I did sell my VeChain. We talked about that. It was probably about 2 months ago, and I'm not really regretting it. Are we cooked? And also, why is Arrow up? Luis Rincon, Rincon, Puerto Rico, one of my favorite places there. TJ, you've been following Arrow very closely. Why is it up?
I mean, I would say because it's a strong project with strong revenue. We did actually upload an Aerodrome video last night. Drew kind of gave an update on the latest news with Base.
There you go. That's why it's up.
Yeah, there you go. It's the Discover Crypto video. But for me, again, Coinbase has positioned itself extremely well. Obviously, we talk a lot about the DeFi projects that are getting well positioned within the market, or the infrastructure, so to speak, with crypto, Chainlink, Aave, Morpho, a lot of these types of things. But Coinbase, being, people forget they custody 10, I think, of the 12 ETFs out there, including BlackRock's. So there's a lot of everything runs through Coinbase in a lot of ways right now. And Aerodrome is the base DEX. That is the decentralized exchange of choice for Coinbase and their ecosystem, Zora, everything, that runs through it. So I see this continuing to do well. Their volumes are up, their revenues are up, and it's just a strong project. Arrow and other, see, here's DeFi crypto airdrops. If you guys haven't checked that channel out, please do so. He's our DeFi master over there. Him and I agree on most of this stuff. Arrow and other base plays will pump with the new base app launching. There you go. So new app, I think that's launching in a couple of weeks, and that will continue to do well. We got a super chat here from Kelly Kellum over there. Seems like the entire Fed is a prime agency that AI
could be replaced by AI. No need for
Yeah.
human intervention. Politicized press conferences. Do it based on math, probabilities, not conjecture. I love the theory. I only hate the inputs. He who controls the inputs controls the outputs, and I don't think any fair way that everybody's going to agree that, oh yeah, the inputs are finally fair. We're just looking at ADP because you're going to be weighting this a little bit more, weighting that a little bit more, and it'll look exactly like the CPI data. And you're like, well, why is Ziploc bags 17% of my grocery bill metrics, but eggs are only 2%? You'll see a lot of fugaziness going on there. But great idea. Yeah, maybe AI tools are definitely going to be necessary. Make sure you're following Kelly. He's putting out a lot of great spaces lately. Should I hold my PNG Pangolin or swap in a Morpho or Moonwell? I'm down 65%. I don't want to get caught up in swap and then rip. I think it's always better to de-risk in periods like this. No one knows what's going to happen for sure. And then when risk appetite comes back on, then you can swap back and you'll probably be able to catch that rip. That would be my 2 cents at least.
All right, yeah. I would say my question when people ask me that is, has your conviction changed? I love Morpho and Moonwell. Don't know much about PNG, but if you don't have the same conviction on PNG and you do have it on something else, it's much more comfortable on days like today when altcoins are down if you have a very strong conviction in the project you're holding. If you're in it because you were hoping for a quick pump to get out and then you experience a down day like today, it's really tough to hold it. So yeah, there you go. That's my 2 cents.
There you go. All right. Well, enough pontification. Let's get into the news here. Let's get into the stories. Let's look at the price action. You can see Bitcoin taking a nice little tumble since 3 a.m. this morning, peeling off $4,000 on the price, but maybe potentially has found a bottom. You can see, it's bouncing a little bit. It's It's about $750 up from where we saw the bottom there. Now, I do have a trade open. I'm going to be showing it a little bit later. 50x, everybody. We're going to be trading 50x. It's a small amount, very, 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 very small amount. Let's talk about the summary here. So we talked about the Fed rate change, a huge, huge change here. Odds of no change, high increase, 25 basis points, very strong decrease. The basis of this is one sentence, mostly one sentence from Jerome Powell when they were asked about another Fed rate cut in December. He said, far from assured. And this is kind of I would say the most bearish point from the entire press conference is those three words right there. That is probably in my opinion, the primary reason we're seeing so much red. But here's the quick summary in case you missed it. Fed rate, they cut 25 basis points. The second rate cut of 2025. We did have a Fed member, Stephen Miran. He dissented in favor of a 50 basis point cut. Now, we don't typically see dissension within the ranks. We've seen a little bit more lately, but we haven't really seen it with two people before. We had another one, Elon Schmidt. No, it's Jeffrey Schmidt. He's the Kansas City governor. Not in the KC mob. I don't think he's in the KC mob, but he's the Kansas City governor. Funny thing about this Jeffrey Schmidt, TJ, he is on his way out. He's out at the end of the year, and some are saying he's acting like he's throwing a little bit of a tantrum on his way. It's kind of like the drunk guy getting kicked out of the bar. He's going to knock over a bottle. He's going to, kick a little bit. And some say he's just trying to come off as extra hawkish, maybe for post FOMC employment.
Right. Political reasons, basically.
Political reasons. So he dissented for no rate cut. Now, they said they will stop shrinking their balance sheet on December 1st. We're going to break down what this means exactly. And they said inflation has moved up and remains somewhat elevated. They did throw out the tariffs as one of the reasons we're seeing somewhat elevated inflation data. And they said downside risk to employment have also risen. So the Fed pivot is in full swing. Now, let's talk about.
I was just going to note Stephen Moran, one of the top potential picks to replace Powell next year.
Yeah, so Trump loves him, and you can see for obvious reasons he's coming in. Trump wants the rate cut, so Trump is going to be pushing for this guy. He's going to have a lot of pushback from the other side. So just kind of think about that. Happy 500K day. That's what we'd be saying. Of manipulation and corruption weren't allowed to hold down the price of Bitcoin. Have a great day. Thank you, Freedom Guy 1776. Do not even talk to him about taxes on the tea. Yeah. He'll get real mad about that one there. All right, but now let's talk about this. So the Fed QT, what does it mean for Fed QT to end on December 1st? So the Fed, they have a balance sheet. They've been shrinking this balance sheet. But every month, there's things that come to maturity. So you have a bond, it comes to maturity. Now you have all this cash. Well, before they would just essentially destroy the cash. It shrinks the balance sheet. Now something comes to maturity, and they have all this cash. They're like, all right, now we're going to buy something. So the quantity that starts December 1st. It's going to be MBS, stands for mortgage-backed securities. And these redemptions are going to be invested into short-term T-bills. T-bills are going to be the shorter term, 2 years and less. So they're going to essentially stop shrinking the money supply and now move the money supply around. Now, Lynn Alden, when it comes to macro news, when it comes to, what does it mean for the Fed interest rate cuts? Very, very smart individual here. So Fei Zhao asked this question. When the Fed begins buying the T-bills in a swap for their reserves in a few months, is this money printing? Is this quantitative easing? Fully open to views and curious on people's thoughts here. This, to me, is one of the better reviews. I mean, you can see here 119,000 views, actually getting more views than the original post. It is money printing, according to Lynn Alden. Whether it's QE or not, simply semantics. The Fed will not call it quantitative easing since it's not duration and it's not for economic stimulus. But at the end of the day, the money printer is turning on, TJ. So that's kind of what we're seeing as far as what does it mean for QT to end in the start of December there.
Yeah, I agree. It's gonna get really interesting. I mean, there was another response here similar to this was a response to that same post. This is my new. I don't know if you were here when I talked. This is my new favorite account. Great account to follow if you guys aren't following it. Sightbringer really breaks stuff down really well. And he does make a point. It is money printing, but not the type that drops cash into the economy. It's balance sheet printing, not necessarily spending printing. And this, I believe, this post breaks it down a little bit. It's a little bit to read. But it is, I think, worth it because this is basically breaking down, here's what everybody missed. This is the stuff DZ already highlighted. These are kind of the highlights of it. We got a rate cut. QT's ending. December rate cut not guaranteed. But here's the two, and this was what I picked up on it too. The actual problem here. The Fed is facing two crises at the same time. Inflation's still up, which DZ just mentioned, and then banks running out of cash. That's another big one, and there's no tool that in order to fix both. And so really what they're talking about, let's see if he gets into it, is banks are in trouble. They bought bonds at 1 to 2%. Now they're underwater 4 to 5%. Depositors are fleeing to money markets. Same thing that killed Silicon Valley Bank. If you guys remember, we covered this a lot when all this stuff was breaking down. The regional banks, even Jerome Powell came out recently saying, hey, regional banks are in trouble. And the smoking gun, it's what I mentioned earlier, strategic reserve fund usage is rising. This is basically like the emergency account for banks. Not only is it rising, but there's way less there than there used to be, and they're running up against their window. Last time this happened, March 2020, which was basically the last time we had an extreme liquidity squeeze or liquidity crisis, you could say. And that's when we really got back to the money printing. But the problem nobody's talking about, I mean, some people are, the U.S. debt is rolling over from 1% to 5%. We know we have a debt problem. We know our payments are already exceeding defense spending. But this is why, and you guys have heard me say this a lot, this is why Trump is so loud about needing the rates to come down. It's literally impossible for them to refinance at 5%. We can't afford it. So we have to have that happen. I mean, here's the graph right there. It's just unsustainable. This is 21 right here. So what the ending of QT actually means, not printing money, just stopping the draining. And yeah, this is what I was talking about. When liquidity tightens, Bitcoin chops or drops. That's what we're feeling right now, is the liquidity tightening on Bitcoin. And when the Fed prints or panics, kind of when they blink, that's when Bitcoin really starts to run. So we're in phase one right now. Phase two is coming. The scenario ahead, liquidity crisis, QE, Bitcoin 150K pretty soon, soft landing, slow grind. We range down. And this is, I would say, the fear that like this would be, hey, if we're in the 4-year cycle and we're heading back into a bear market, Bitcoin could slow grind back down into these levels. And that, I think, is a legitimate fear that a lot of people have. And then stagflation, chaos, Bitcoin being the debasement trade. So 2 out of the 3, Bitcoin's very, very, very strong. But here's the tell. I mean, this is the graph, the strategic overnight funding reserve, the spread on the basis points. This is what you guys should be keeping an eye on. You can see it. We're seeing sharp declines in those numbers. Wall Street knows that Powell can't hold the line. Either inflation or banks will force his hand. And I would argue it's going to be the banks. They're not going to let themselves collapse, so it goes into a little bit more. I just thought that was
you should reply to that, let people find that, then they'll be able to end up seeing that. So if they want to end up watching it. All right, now, but the big question is, what does this mean for Bitcoin's price? He kind of said, long term, kind of phase one, waiting for phase two. But let's talk about the more immediate needs here. I will answer this $5 super chat real quickly. Kind of covered this a little bit yesterday. Why was Solana, Litecoin, HBAR approved and listed, but not XRP, not Cardano, not Avalanche with the shutdown? Kind of talked about the 5 checkboxes that they did with those first 3 ETFs. There's different ways that you could file with these ETFs. They did it in a way, it was like, all right, 5 little checkboxes. They're like, all right, we did this, we did this, we did this. The other ones didn't do it. Why did they do it this way and the other ones didn't? Well, this was kind of there's an obscure loophole with the 5 checkbox way. And that obscure loophole was, if the SEC does not respond within 20 days, it is an auto approval. I don't know if they had foresight of the government shutdown or how long it would go, but they basically found a loophole, and with that loophole, that's what you're seeing there.
Somebody whose job it is to get that approved was really good at their job, and they got it done at Bitwise. And what we're not gonna have
Better Call Saul. It's like Saul's brother. He was like really smart. And he found the legal loophole, folks.
Yeah. I do want to mention, since we're on this and we're not going to get much chance to talk about it today, I'll just quickly mention.
I got all that.
Okay.
Hey, we're talking about soul. I got a little soul in me, TJ. All right, let's talk about Fed signals the end of QT. What does this mean for Bitcoin's price? Bitcoin fell 35% after QT ended in 2019 and beginning cutting rates, prompting fears Bitcoin may decline in the coming months. So last time quantitative easing happened, 35% dump. So analysts are now divided. Are we going to see a 35% dump, or are we going to see Bitcoin blast off to 100K, 180K and beyond? So we did see a little bit of a drop after the 25 basis rate cut, and they confirmed plans to conclude the QT in December here. And so, again, just to kind of reiterate, they will stop allowing its bond holdings to shrink and begin reinvesting the piles of cash into these short-term bills. T-bills are going to be 2 years and below. The notes are going to be 5 and 10, and then you have the treasuries are going to be 20 and 30 there. So that's, if you're always wondering what a T-bill is. In simple terms, when the old bonds get paid back, instead of destroying the money, they'll use it to buy the T-bills. Now, last time, like we said, it fell 35%, and that's despite growth in the U.S. stock market, kind of like what we're seeing now. Bitcoin's lagging, stock market's overperforming, Nvidia's hitting record highs. But Bitcoin didn't recover until they launched full-blown QE in early 2020 amid current concerns about COVID-19. I would say this is bearish. I would say we're at the peak of the 4-year cycle now, which may not be any better. Meanwhile, signs of a bear market are being noticed. We have a pending bearish MACD crossover on the 3-week chart. Last time we saw this, 69% correction in 21-22. Essentially, this 3-week MACD crossover was the November top. Now, TJ, let's talk about this. This is the 3-week chart right here. Run a log. Let me expand this so you can see a little bit better. I got a little bit of hopium for the bulls. Here is the hopium. So there's that 3-week crossover. You see it right there. End of the bull market. Bitcoin fell. It fell very considerably too. I mean, yeah, that's when we got the bear market, folks. That's when it fell about 80%. Now you look, oh my God, is that happening right now? Are we about to lose 70%? Is Bitcoin about to dump 60% over the next year? Do you want the hopium, TJ? I got hopium.
Yeah, and I'm also curious.
Some hopium.
I'm also curious to see if it happened in May or not. Because May in 21 when the May crash. If we saw
right there, you can see it right there. But we also kind of had something similar right here and something similar right here. So this is kind of like, is that final 3-week MACD crossover? Here's the hopium, though. I know there's some bulls. Like, please tell me, DZ, it ain't over. Well, what do you notice on this one? Strong bearish divergence, TJ. Whereas here, no bearish divergence. And so I'm going to hold out hope that we do get one more blast. We get one more like little pump here. And then that pump is going to essentially lead to, I lost my, there we go. We get one more pump and then we get the bearish MACD crossover. So we will get a MACD crossover that's bearish. We just haven't seen it yet. I'm looking at higher, folks. I'm looking at higher. I don't know if you think there's too much there with no bearish divergence, but to me, this is pretty significant.
Yeah, I mean, that is significant. And I mean, I'm definitely more of a macro person than a TA person, but I love when I see TA giving confluence to, what I can feel in my bone. I mean, there's just so much that's going on politically. I do think China-US deal, which we're going to get into here in just a minute, is going to end this week. So this feels like manipulation. It feels like people, again, taking advantage of the government shutdown, market structure bill. So to answer the question in the title, has the brutal bear market started? My answer is no, it has not. I do think we get another rally. I think it's going to be delayed. Obviously, I was looking at November originally. This government shutdown slowing things down. QT ends December 1st. Government shutdown projected for end of November. Market structure bill likely in December. So I still think we're going to have a very, very strong, even maybe November, December, definitely December, and likely Q1 of next year. And then it's going to get very interesting to see, what happens after that. But I do believe the Fed's going to have to force the Fed is going to have to make something happen. The Treasury is going to have to make something happen. They just need to get past this tariff stuff first. And I don't believe Trump and Xi Jinping would be sitting down together if they didn't largely already have that.
Well, let's talk about China, folks. Now we got to talk about the other major news. Of course, the FOMC meeting, but the other major news is Trump meeting with Xi Jinping in South Korea. So he announced Chinese tariff reductions after an amazing meeting with President Xi, including reducing the fentanyl tariffs to 10% effective immediately. Overall tariffs reduced from 57 to 47. So we're seeing another, just a broad 10% decline. China to discuss chip restrictions with NVIDIA. No more obstacles on rare earths. This is obviously, one of the main sticking points to this whole deal. And China and US to collaborate on one of the other large geopolitical issues, and that's going to be Ukraine. To me, this is signaling, potentially US asking China, Russia, relationships to cool off a little bit. A trade deal appears to be coming next. Now, we do have Kobayashi with another little breakdown. President Xi will be so what's the after effects? After effects also look pretty bullish. Xi is coming to America after an amazing meeting, and he's going to and then Trump is coming to China, and he's going to go there in April. Of course, President Xi's last trip to America, it's a lot of fanfare. People were talking about the sidewalks of California, being clean very quickly, and you're like, wait a minute, you could have done this the whole time.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see where he lands. What city does he choose, or what state does he choose? What governor does he choose to meet with? And so, a lot of people are just saying this round of the war is over. Now, we do have a little bit of a breakdown here I want to share. So before the bilateral meeting, Trump indicated that the invite just, it's just going to be between two parties here. Unilateral is going to obviously, be something like a G20. Trump indicated that the parties are showing signs of alignment. And here's Trump. We've already agreed to a lot of things, and we'll agree to some more right now. I think we're going to have a fantastic relationship for a long period of time, longer than his ex-wife. I had to say it. I had to. He's got a few marriages, But his use of tariffs since returning to the White House, combined with China's retaliatory limits on exports of rare earth elements, has fueled fears of the economic slowdown. Some of the most severe tariffs triggering crashes in the crypto market. Now, reports from mainstream media state that neither U.S. nor China wants to risk destabilizing the world economy, which warranted the in-person meeting that apparently went amazingly. And they signaled Trump doesn't. This is a little bit odd phraseology here. It's definitely putting in a political agenda. Officials signaled Trump doesn't intend to follow through with his threat of additional tariffs, while China expected to ease up export controls of the rare earth. So it was a retaliatory tariff on Chinese export restrictions. So China's like, all right, well, we'll slow down the rare earth export controls. And then so Trump, now he doesn't intend to follow through. A little bit of a mixed bag there on how they want to frame that. I don't know if you have any.
Of course he wouldn't follow through. It's the negotiating tactics. Yeah,
that was the deal.
That's how we're making.
Yeah,
this
no,
happen.
He's chickening out. TJ Taco. Trump always chickens out. Like, no, we have a deal. Hey, you do X, I do Y. The guy does X. They're like, haha, see, he chickened out again.
Right.
He chickened out.
Yeah, I don't really. I mean,
chicken.
The media is the real clown in the room most of the time. So I'm not putting too much emphasis on general media interpretation. I mean, it was kind of like, even, I don't know if you saw the clip of their little introduction that they had televised the other night. They actually had a sit down where like Trump made his opening statement, like at the negotiation table, Trump's opening statement, Xi Jinping's opening statement. And then at the very end, some reporters like, why are you reopening our nuclear facilities, Trump? And it's like, is that really the right setting to be like talking about that? Like, it sounds like they're just trying to stir stuff up. It doesn't.
I think we got the clip. There's just a short clip here. Let's see if it plays. All right.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. And right at that's the shorter version of it. I think I saw something that was like 3 or 4 minutes, but yeah, there's something going on with AWS, by the way.
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, there's so because I did it that window, now it's not on there. But yeah, basically, it's a cacophony of journalists screeching there is kind of what you always see.
Yeah, it's a joke. I
will say, I think it was Japanese prime minister when the American journalists started yelling and screeching. He was so taken aback. You could tell, like, we do not let our media talk to us like this. They end up in a Japanese internment camp, but maybe the new version. All right, now I will have a little bit of a breakdown on this. I haven't had time to read it this morning. Wall Street Journal just did a giant supposed expose on Binance boosted Trump's family's crypto company ahead of the pardon for its billionaire founder. The reason I haven't gone into this is the auditory vision. It's a 24-minute article. With my reading, it's going to take 45 minutes. Now, I'll speed through this later on, and if there's anything crazy, any kind of provable corruption, I'll share with you folks tomorrow. Might not be much of anything burger there, but let's talk about some of the trades. Let's get back into the prices here. There's a smart trader. He's going long on Bitcoin and ETH. He went long on also Solana. 14 trades, 18 days, 100% win rate, and $16 million in realized profits there, TJ. So that guy, He is killing the trades out there. So we are seeing a lot of people, I would just say, making moves in this market. Another smart money. I just want to throw this at your radar. Looks on Chain doesn't do this all that often with these small meme coins. This might be the hot narrative. I faded Steve-O and others on Useless. Goat, also another one. This guy made money off Trump, Art, Goat, and Useless. Ghost. You heard it here first. I'm not saying go out and buy it, but if you are a Solana trencher, I'm trying to just maybe throw one on your radar. But do not participate unless you are a trencher, because you're probably just going to lose money on that one. Now, this is a TJ. I want to know what you think about this one. Someday the circle on the right, it's going to look like the circle on the left. All you got to do is buy Bitcoin and wait.
Yeah.
And it's simply just the Bitcoin chart.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I saw the same post, and I think, I've seen that happen multiple times. And this stuff that feels so volatile while you're in the middle of it, as time goes on, feels much less volatile. And it is just buy Bitcoin and wait. That really is the best strategy. Again, I'm still 70% Bitcoin. I'm curious. I saw this guy's comment earlier. Anyone taking TJ's advice getting punished? I'm curious what he's referring to, because my advice has basically been, buy Bitcoin, be conservative, pick good projects with revenue. Most of my picks and projects are still holding up very strong or up dramatically from where I bought them. So I'm not getting punished. So I'm just curious, Redman or Red Crypto. It is a Red Crypto day, but what you were referring to there? Because I just want to know. I feel like I give pretty good advice, and let me know in the chat if you think I'm off base with any of my advice. But other thing here, and this was something you and I were talking about a little bit this morning. This, like, TJ, do you not think this feels like the start of the 2021 bear market when we were waiting for 100K Bitcoin? We're all saying this time is different back then.
No, we were all so all right. So 125 wasn't that long ago. And so if you extrapolate the amount of days that 125 is to today, and then look at 2021, it would be when Bitcoin hit 69K. This is going to happen around, I want to say it was November 10th, November 11th. We were still bullish by Thanksgiving. We were all like, oh, remember Thanksgiving pump? There's going to be the Thanksgiving pump. Oh, it's going to pump in December. And so we are much more bearish versus where we were at this stage of the market in 2021.
Exactly. And I have seen a lot of people say that, markets don't top in fear. I don't know what the fear and greed index. Yeah, it's
great.
Fear and greed is down in the 30s. Like, they don't top when everybody's saying sell and it's over, get out. They top when everybody's bullish, everybody's buying boats and cars and taking screenshots of their portfolios. And we just haven't had that feeling. Now, honestly, I will say it does feel like, and I think I said this at the top of the show, the conversation you and I were having this morning, DZ, the feeling that's similar is that super bullish news doesn't seem to move the market, and the slight bearish news seems to take the legs out of it. That does feel like what happens at the start. That is what happens in bear markets. It's like good news does nothing. Mastercard partnering, Visa partnering, big bank acquisitions, crypto startups raising billions of dollars, and it's like market's not moving at all. And then it's like Trump sneezes and boom, bottom falls out of the market. Like, that's what happens in a bear market. And the more I look at it, though, this time I think it has a lot more to do with the liquidity and a lot more to do with big money coming in. And I do think a lot of retail is getting shaken out. A lot of retail is overinvested and emotional and scared, and they want you scared. And that's almost always fear is what precedes the big rally. Euphoria is what precedes the big fall. The fact that we're in max fear right now across the board in crypto, not in equities, stocks doing very, very well. You could argue we're getting close to a top-ish or a local top in the equities markets. And that could rotate back into crypto again, in my opinion. So, I still think, again, I still have a lot of conviction that we have more time ahead. This time is different, so to speak. I understand how those are famous last words for a lot of people, but you have to acknowledge there is a seismic shift in the adoption of crypto on a regulatory, national, sovereign level than we've ever seen before. And if you don't think that makes a difference, then, just buckle up. I guess you're going to be surprised.
Buckle up, Buttercup, because, we're going to have some pain ahead. But let me give you some golden dreams. I'm going to shower you with some dreams here, folks. Gold broke out on September 30th. There's typically a 100-day lead. Now, this is a suspiciously round number. I've seen 91. I've seen 103. I've seen different things for M2 money supply from, low 80s to the high 1 teens as well. But you see a lot of gold land on around 100-day lag. If you do the math on 100-day lag, ignition starts December 12th. All right. So R. Kelly, Jay-Z, get ready. This is the keys to ignition. Fresh out the kitchen. Bitcoin will pump. So please stop your hitching up your belts because you're so tight on money. I was gonna say something else. You guys know. Stop your wishing for a higher bull market.
This is a good one. This is another really good one. Again, we've shared the correlation between gold and Bitcoin before. Gold usually rallies on distrust of central banks, and that's really what they're signaling to the market is that the game that the central banks have been playing with fiat isn't working. Central banks are the ones driving this gold purchasing up. So it is a little bit of a controlled deconstruction of the fiat illusion that we're experiencing right now. I think that's part of why there's some uncertainty and some chaos, is because we're coming out of a system that's been in place for quite some time, more than most of our lifetimes that are watching this. So to say with absolute certainty what's coming is just foolish. I know what Bitcoin is going to do. I know what gold's going to do. But to say for sure what the U.S. is going to do, what Trump's going to do, what Powell's going to do, what the debt's going to do, it's just hard to say. So you need to get into trades that you have conviction in. Again, gold, Bitcoin, the debasement trade, as they're calling it. What we do know is fiat is not getting stronger. It's not getting better. It's not fixable. It's not savable. So you need to find something else, whether that's commodities, whether that's equities that you really believe in. I mean, I think I have, obviously you guys know we love crypto, but there's also this. I mean, the government is basically telling you what to invest in. They're saying this is where we're going to be pumping money into the future. AI, data centers, compute, there's NVIDIA for you right there.
I hate that they said power instead of energy. I actually didn't include it because of that. But yeah, this is great. Biotech, autonomy, robotics. I mean, kind of the same thing there.
Why do you hate power? You mean because you're talking nuclear and you don't think power fits in?
I think just, when you hear analysts talk about the energy sector, you never hear them say the power sector.
Gotcha. Yeah. But it's energy. Yeah, it's nuclear, really. It's more than anything. That's where they're going to be dumping tons of money. And then crypto infrastructure. That's what we talk about. Manufacturing, I'm not so sure. I guess, they're trying to bring it back. But I saw another stat that was pretty crazy. What was it? NVIDIA alone has more value than the entire manufacturing of the S&P 500. Like any manufacturing company, you roll all of them together.
Number one is going to be, unless I'm mistaken, Boeing is typically high up there. Caterpillar is typically high up there. And if you think about, where Boeing, Northrop Grumman, I would say that makes. And you said it's more than what now?
All of them put together.
Oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Just NVIDIA.
Yeah, because there's only a handful that are really have any kind of juice.
Right. And so I don't know if that's where I would go. Obviously, you guys know we love crypto infrastructure. That is Chainlink. That is a lot of these DEXs. That's why we're big, Ethereum, Bitcoin, all that sort of stuff. So find your heavy conviction ones. It doesn't just have to be in crypto. There's been plenty of money to make on the stock market right now. I do think that rotation's coming, but it's definitely not staying in dollars. I mean, even I could go on and on about Michael Saylor and Stretch and some of that stuff that he's rolling out, I think is very genius. So
here we got gold, brass, dark matter, Pokemon cards, and water. All right. That's an interesting mix there.
Lead, you mean? Yeah. Bullets.
Dark matter. Is this like a Dan Brown novel? What are we talking about here? All right, let's talk about Mastercard's latest. This is a huge integration. $2 billion. Mastercard in talks to acquire Zero Hash for nearly $2 billion, according to this report. And they previously explored. We're starting to see a battle, folks, behind the scenes. Mastercard previously explored acquiring this London stablecoin startup, BVNK. That was also going to be a $2 billion deal. So they clearly got $2 billion. They're like, we got to go buy something crypto related. Well, guess what? While no deal is announced, sources say Mastercard outbid by Coinbase with the BVNK bank. So, Mastercard's, they're pivoting. They're going to buy Zero Hash here. Now, Zero Hash, what the hell does Zero Hash do? It's like a Waffle House with no hash rounds. We only got grits. Well, what does it mean? Zero Hash is an API-first infrastructure provider that enables banks, financial institutions, and brokerages to embed crypto stablecoins tokenization into their existing platforms. Chat, I want you to answer. What altcoin does this sound like Zero Hash is performing the duties of? This sounds a lot to me like a certain altcoin. And I want to know, is it over for that altcoin? But can you guys even, piece together, what does this mean for that particular altcoin? Zero Hash only. Okay. So basically, this sounds like when you talk about API, you talk about infrastructure, you talk about stablecoins. Okay, to me, this sounds a lot like Chainlink. Okay, sounds a lot like Chainlink. Rob, what? So, but if you look at it, Mastercard, if you scroll down, something happened between Zero Hash and Mastercard. You go down. Wait a minute. Oh, look at this from July 11th, 2025, early, about four months ago or so. We're excited to be the infrastructure partner alongside Chainlink and Mastercard, said Zero Hash's CEO. So Zero Hash is doing the job of Chainlink by using Chainlink.
Right.
And it makes me want to buy some Chainlink right now with my stablecoin I got on the sidelines.
Yeah. Did you ever say what coin you would buy? Tell them in the chat which altcoin you would buy today.
Oh, they did. Sui was on there. There was some Chainlink.
All right, buy Chainlink.
BNB. There was some Chainlink, though. Everything is just a Chainlink wrapper.
It's true. I mean, Chainlink is behind everything. I mean, we covered obviously the news with Visa yesterday. I don't think it's a coincidence that MasterCard makes this announcement today. Those are Visa, MasterCard are the two giants of payments. So again, this is another seismic shift towards crypto being a base settlement layer of our future. So that gets me exceptionally bullish. Chainlink, again, you go one layer up on the infrastructure, you got Ethereum, right? So Chainlink and Ethereum work together. Chainlink built on Ethereum, everything else built on Chainlink, so to speak.
Just bought some more Chainlink.
Chainlink does cross-chain, but Visa picking the 4 change that they're going to be rolling stable coins out today. Zero Hash, this is going to allow MasterCard to basically do the same thing, settle payments across multiple different chains using Chainlink and their messaging protocol, CCIP, all that sort of stuff. It's working wonderfully. And yeah, Chainlink, it kind of goes Bitcoin, Ethereum, Chainlink. I think our Arrow might be my 4th largest bag. It could be Aave, but those are my biggest holdings. Those are my long-term holds. And that's why I don't really get too freaked out on red days like today, because even if we are going to go, and I still think we're in a bull market. I haven't seen, if you're a bear in the chat, you think it's over, let me know. I have seen a handful of those, but if I ask for bulls and bears, I see mostly bulls. But I just want to see, just tell me if you think it's over. I've seen a few of those, that we're going back down, to sub 70K in the near future. I just want to know. But even if we were going back to sub 70K, I think we have, I would hold Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Chainlink for the next 5 to 10 years. Very easy. Bitcoin, much longer than that. Ethereum, I haven't seen anything kind of taking out what they do on a decentralized security level. I see a lot of people trying to be settlement layers and compete. I think Avalanche has a pretty good shot at that. Solana has a pretty good shot at that. So there's a decent amount over. Nothing's over. Okay, so High Def just saying it over and over. Okay, so High Def, he believes it's over.
Yeah. A lot of people think it is over here. Right. So, all right, I did get some more Chainlink. 5'6" and a sneaky link. 5'6" and a sneaky link. God, that was such a moment. All right, Solana, Eric Balchunas, you kind of mentioned it earlier, did more volume on day 2, 72 million, a huge number, good sign here. And I see a lot of assessments out there, when it comes to Solana ETF, why isn't it trading above $200? Even though the trading volumes are impressive analysts, it could just be mirroring ETH's laggy performance after the ETH spot ETFs. Now the market has 2 new Solana ETFs. Grayscale has the spot one. Also, Bitwise Solana Staking has one. Now, Cointelegraph reported it launched with 222 million, had the 72 million in trading volume. But here's why we're not seeing, massive pumps. Prior to the shutdown and the sell-off, analysts predicted the Solana ETF approval would kickstart a $300 Solana, $600 Solana, but it's still trading under 200. Is this a buy the rumor, sell the news outcome? But if you look, Bitcoin ETF and price had a similar relationship. Bitcoin trended flat and down despite the growing inflows. Eventually, the floodgates opened for Bitcoin, and then the inflows really spiked, which marked the bottom for the Bitcoin price. Solana maybe going through just a similar cycle as the initial excitement fades away. But I think this is the best reason why FOMC timing doesn't help, because many participants, especially institutions that would buy via ETF, they're likely de-risking ahead of the FOMC meeting. But they don't view it as a red flag. Expected behavior for high-profile events such as these. So part of the reason, 2 days before Powell speaking, really isn't going to help your trading volume, isn't really going to help legacy money investing into a very risky asset like a Solana ETF.
Yeah, and I would say, and if you guys aren't in our Discord, we do daily trading updates, and that's one of the most proud things we had is nobody from our trading group was liquidated yesterday. Everybody was prepared for that pullback and risked off. So congratulations. Did you guys hear that dog bark? I saw somebody ask about the dog. I don't know if that was coincidence, but there definitely was a dog barking. But it's interesting to me if you guys all heard that.
Adjacent to it is, yeah, it's that direction right there. There's a small dog.
Oh, did it bark too?
I didn't hear it. I have headphones on, but maybe chat picked it up.
No, Kelly's dog is here. It's Ollie, not Ada. Ada does not come to the office with me anymore. I was too much to manage. Hasn't come to the office with me in a long time. But it's just interesting to me if you guys heard that. That means you can hear a lot on this microphone. So it's just interesting.
Good microphone. All right, now speaking of Solana, I wanted to share this, TJ. This is insane. Anatoly Yakovenko, pretty smart guy, folks. I wouldn't sleep on the co-founder of Solana. We did a big deep dive on Solana like a year or two ago. It's definitely bright. I put him up with Sergey as far as like founders. But people, all right, so this is just in OpenAI preparing for an IPO at $1 trillion valuation, according to Reuters, talking about the effect of the markets here. People calling this top. So Anatoly said, this is not the top. We are going to continue pumping. Why? Because people simply don't understand the mathematics of back propagation. It's like back propagation. Let me look into that. Financial back propagation is the specialized application of back propagation algorithm originally from neural networks adapted to financial modeling, risk management, and algorithmic trading.
Got it. Of course.
Oh, yeah. For computing sensitivities, the Greeks allocate risk or train financial prediction models. So I got another deep read. It's a whole thing. I mean, it's got math equations and stuff. So that's going to be on my radar as well. So yeah, I'm going to be, I'll be looking into it shortly, folks.
And just worth noting, they're preparing that IPO for 1 trillion, I believe, in 2027. So that's kind of what he's saying. Like, there's a lot more money coming into the system, and it's not ending right now. That's for sure. Now, nothing says nonprofit like letting retail buy in at $1 trillion, right? Like, I just can't. I mean, OpenAI is just such a. I don't know. I don't know what to say about it. It's a.
I mean, there was the engineer in San Francisco that had his death ruled the S word, and it looked exactly like the H word.
Did you see
N word, whatever you want to use?
Such an interesting clip where Tucker Carlson.
He's like, I've never been accused of unaliving someone. He's like, well, this is weird. How do you explain it? He appealed to emotional distress instead of relying on the facts of the case, and to me, that's a clear sign of chicanery. I don't want to accuse anybody of anything, but
you don't want him coming after you.
I don't want OpenAI to target me.
No, they're scanning eyeballs out there.
There'd be 27,000 robots outside my house 10 years from now. If I got to be careful. No, clearly there's something shady going on there. Clearly. But chat, what altcoin is this? What altcoin is this?
The one they bought yesterday.
This is yesterday's price action here. This is how it's the one they bought yesterday. Yes, it's the one you said to buy in your video. Be like, no, it's not. We told you to buy Chainlink. We told you to buy Bitcoin.
We told you to buy Arrow. Last night.
It's green, right? I told you to buy BNB. It's up. Let's see. You got it. Kelly is right. Folks, this is Chipotle. Chipotle collapses 15% after they say young diners are pulling back.
It's true. I don't remember the last time I had Chipotle. I used to eat it all the time, and then it just got out of control prices, and it's gone way downhill. I'll just say that much.
I blame people trying to do Chipotle hacks on TikTok. Like, man, if you tell them it's to go, then switch to here, or switch from this and then change that, and say, come on, man. They hook it up. Those things spread like wildfire, and then corporate had to crack down. Like, all right, no more hooking up people because they give you a wink and a nod.
Well, my hack I used to, that was back when it was good, when the hacks worked. The hack I used to do is you get you basically get chicken and steak, but you get half scoops, and so, but they don't have a measurement for a half scoop. So you
That's
end up
good.
getting like a
That is a good
3/4
hack.
scoop. I mean, it worked.
Chat, give us a good hack. I'll try it out today. I swear. Let me know Chipotle is good, not for the prices. Yeah, if there's a sneaky hack for Chipotle, let me know. Now, folks, let me know if you want to see this. Night mining is now live for everybody. Scavenger Mine opened up last night. It's the second phase of the night token distribution. Everybody can get their hands on some free tokens, minus, of course, the cost of electricity. All you need is an ADA address and an internet connection to start mining. Watch the tokens roll in. Could this be the easiest way to earn your night tokens? Now, if you don't know what night is, it's the privacy-focused side chain built on top of Cardano, designed to enable rational privacy on blockchains. What does rational privacy mean? It just means privacy that allows governments to have a backdoor. If I'm going to be honest, Zcash has the same thing. Monero, I want to be careful. I don't think Monero has the same thing, but Monero does find the cyber criminals regularly. So Monero does have ways of, checking the wallets and finding the people. It's through a weird obfuscation technique, and AI has actually made Monero transactions very findable. But Midnight, do you guys want the night mining tutorial? Maybe we won't put it on YouTube. Maybe put it just on X or something like that. Just give you a quick little 2-minute rundown. Ooh, members only. Members only. TJ, I love that idea. Yeah, let us know. Yeah, the members we'll make. That's a great idea. That's a great idea.
I'd be interested just to see if it's worth, like we all leave here in the evenings. I just run all these computers doing it. How much night could we get if we had 5 GPU heavy mining, editing machines, mining for it? I'd be just interested. Because these things all have fat GPUs in them.
Everybody's still just talking about Chipotle. You guys got strong taco opinions here.
All right, all right. If you're at Chipotle, do you do guac or no guac? That's what we need to know. What about you, DZ? Do you do guac?
I mean, I love avocados, but I'm such a cheap bastard. I don't buy avocado. I mean, I look at guacamole and I'm like, that's a fraction of a Chainlink, and so I don't buy it. I'm cheap, man.
What about queso? Queso or no queso?
All right, I'm a milk slut. I am lactose tolerant, but I can handle a little cheese. Maybe my body's just like craving calcium or something. So yeah, I'll go with the cheese.
Yeah. Fun fact: they don't have queso on the West Coast, like anywhere at all. Maybe Chipotle does, but you go to a typical Mexican restaurant and say you want to order some queso, they look at you like you're crazy. Like, what are you talking about? Like, cheese dip? And
yeah, my wife is also allergic to avocados, all pitted fruits. TJ,
Really?
are you an avocado guy?
I'll do both avocado and guac. I used to not like avocado when I was younger, but yeah, I love guac, especially like a good tableside guac or whatever, where you get the fresh ingredients. Like that's the best.
I like this steak. Well, between the prices and the food poisoning, I normally just pack my lunch. Okay, that's probably the good advice right there. All right, now there's also this pretty big news, Securitized. I only want to show this to. We covered the Securitized breakdown 2 days ago. Maybe it was 3 days ago. The BlackRock upload. We put BlackRock in the title because, titling Securitized, but it's basically there's a Securitized BlackRock partnership. Securitized just created another partnership, this time with America's oldest bank. If you want the Securitized playbook, go back and watch the video from 2-3 nights ago. I totally cover everything there. And again, I'll tell you how to make money off Securitized getting bigger and more powerful.
BNY Mellon, one to watch, been early in crypto, funded Circle. They were also at that Federal Reserve meeting as well. So, oldest bank on the cutting edge still.
All right. Chipotle puts me in the blockchain basement toilet.
Yikes.
All right. Okay. Let's see. People are they've never been. It is good for what it is. Fast.
Yeah.
Mexican food, it's about the best, I guess.
I was shocked one time somebody had never been. They didn't even know how to say it. They'd never heard it. They said Chipotle, and it just was like, wait a minute, you don't know what Chipotle is? Like, what are you talking about? But
I like this. I look at food and how many hours I had to work to buy it. Okay. People talk about California's demographics. No comment there. But probably directionally accurate. And someone's talking about their Chipotle Germany prices. It's 16 euros for a burrito.
Wow.
Moe's,
yeah, prices went up dramatically. Moe's, yeah, Atlanta local.
Is it?
Started here, right here.
I will say they stepped it up. It tasted like dog food at first, but I'm talking like 20 years ago. Yeah, so I think they've upped their game. All right, well, folks, that is our show for today. Smash the like buttons if you like the breakdown of the FOMC, if you like the China Trump breakdown. Also, members only video. Great idea, TJ. We're going to go ahead and do a night mining tutorial. I'll look into that. I got to research Trump corruption. I got to research back propagation in financial markets. I'm so excited about that one. So, folks, we're going to be.
That will be interesting. I bet you will like it.
I probably will. It's that old accounting hat. I need my green translucent visor back.
Just don't Google search back propagation on videos. You never know what you might find. All right, we'll see you guys. We just wanted to take a quick second to shout out our sponsor, Arculus. They are a cold storage hardware wallet, helps you secure all of your digital assets for the future. Just tap this thing to the back of your phone and boom, you're in. We wouldn't be able to do this without them, but also wouldn't be able to do this without you guys, the Disco fam. You've supported us a lot over the years. If you want to support the channel now, just use the code DC20. It gets you 20% off this card. It's the #1 way you can support this channel going forward. Thank you for your support. We'll see you at the top.